Hello 10A and welcome back to the classroom. Yay! I'm so sorry that I'm not there. I had a ticket booked to come back and Australia closed their borders, but then I got an exemption, so I thought, yay, I'm coming back to China. And then the next day I was told that China has closed their borders. So even though I could leave Australia, I couldn't get into China. So I'm coming to you live from Australia in a little town called Denmark. Has about 3,000 people in the town, so it's very, very small. And I live on a lovely big green property. We've got a new little dog who I call Buster. And yeah, but I tell you, I do wish that I was in the classroom with you guys, and I'm thinking of you all, and we're going to do our very best to make sure that you guys don't get impacted or affected just because I'm away. So I'm going to be still working. I'm going to be working twice as hard, and you guys are going to be working twice as hard to make sure that this situation doesn't affect our education and doesn't affect our GPA or the rest of our life. Okay. So I wanted to say well done to many of you for all of your hard work. We are going to go over the things that you have outstanding in a moment, because I do need all of that work completed from every single student. So everything that we've been doing over the last 2 months still goes toward your GPA. So if you decided not to do that work over the last 2 months, you're going to have a lot more work than the people that did. And I hope it's a useful lesson for you, to remember that you must do your work on time, and to leave things and put your head in the sand is not the way to go. So let's go over how the classes will run. Each class, a GAC teacher will play a pre-recorded video. So exactly what we're doing right now. I will record a video for each of the classes. You will be required to watch the video and take note. Just to let you know, your GAC teacher will be in there to observe you. They're not there to answer questions. I will be on WeChat the entire time so that you can contact me directly. Okay, so they're there to observe you, to make sure no one's playing computer games, and that people are doing the right thing and completing their work. Okay. So I need you to watch the video and take notes. So make sure that before each class, you've got a notebook and a pen ready to go. I will actually be sending through a planner, which will tell you what we're going to be doing each class. I'm going to send that into the WeChat group. So today we've got period 1, listening and speaking. We're actually going to be looking at our data sheet later. And I will be sending through so that you're prepared and have the right book with you. So the rest of the class, the rest of the time, you'll be required to work on a particular task. I will send you a copy of the task to you via the WeChat group, okay? And then the GAC teacher will give you a hard copy. So all this information will be sent to the GAC teacher. They will print it off and give you a hard copy of the work that you need to complete, unless it's book work, in which case we can just use our books. Next, as I said, I will be available throughout the class on WeChat to answer any questions. Unfortunately, my internet is not very good. I am in regional Western Australia, so regional basically means out in the country, and across Australia, we do not have as good internet as what it is in China, so I do apologise that I cannot have live lessons with you. But fortunately we have WeChat, and as I said, I will be available. So if you have any questions, if you're not sure about a particular task, you want some more information, just speak to me directly through WeChat. You can use the speaking method, or you can just type it to me. All right, so we're going to, although I'm not in the classroom, I'm still going to be there and available as your teacher as normal. You're then going to complete the work and send to me via WeChat, and I will mark it and send it back to you if I need to make any changes. So the same that we've been doing the last 2 months. Homework needs to be completed on time. As I said, when I send this planner through, it has actually got 2 columns. One column says classwork, so what you need to do in the class, and the next column says hand in. So it tells you what day you need to hand in what work, all right? So everything's going to be very transparent. Transparent means that you understand what's happening, okay? So I want to make sure that you're aware of what you need to hand in and when you need to. we still have a schedule that we need to run by. I still have a lot of assessment events that we need to get through, including listening and reading and writing. So we're going to have to work really hard and work together. When you have an assessment event, for instance, we're going to have our description. I think I'm going to have that next week or the week after. Let me check. Actually, yes, so next week on the 15th of April, you're going to be doing your first or your next assessment event, so the first one for this semester. When we have an assessment event, again, I will do a short pre-recorded video to explain what you need to do for the assessment. Then the teacher will observe you. As usual, there'll be no speaking, and then the teacher will actually collect your assessment, and that will then get sent through to me. Remember, this is just normal GAC material. We are going to continue with Alice in Wonderland because we've gotten through it so far, and it's very important for your reading skills to make sure that you keep those up. All of this work is going to go toward your final mark. So that includes the podcasts that you listen to, it includes the note-taking that you've sent me, it includes Alice in Wonderland, and it includes all of the GAC work. So all of this still goes toward your GPA and your final mark. Don't think that one thing is more important than the other. It is not. As I said, I'm doing my absolute best to try and make sure that your English does not suffer just because of this coronavirus situation that we've gone through. Okay? So performance in class will actually impact your GPA. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Let's listen to some class expectations. So just because I'm not there, the rule still applies. There is no Chinese in my classroom, okay? We are here to work on and improve our English. So let's get rid of the Chinese. As soon as an English class starts, go back to speaking English, no Chinese, no Chinese, no Chinese. I want to iterate again. We do not use translators. We do not use Chinese to English, only English to English dictionaries. I'm not doing this to be mean. You're going to look back at this in 5 or 10 years when you've got a really good job and think, oh, thank goodness I have such good English because now I get much more money and I have a much better life. I'm so glad my teacher made sure that I improved my English as much as possible, okay? So I'm not doing it to be mean. I actually really am doing this to help your future. Please complete all of your work to a high standard. If you are not proud of the work, do not give it to me. If you do not think this is the very, very best that I can do, don't hand it in. And to be honest, you should be doing that with all of your classes, okay? As I said before, complete your homework on time. I will continue to track this, and if things are outstanding, your head teacher will be notified. Your head teacher will then speak to you. If you still do not complete your work to a high standard and get it in on time, the head teacher will actually go and speak with your parents directly, okay? And I don't think anybody wants that. So let's just do the work and then you don't have to have these problems. And finally, make sure that we are helping each other. This whole situation has not been easy for anyone. Trust me, I'm a 36-year-old woman now living with my mum and dad for the last 3 months. So even your teachers have had a very difficult time. And we know that it's been very difficult for you guys sort of being stuck and cooped up and having to do all of this work. So well done, everybody. But we do need to help each other, okay? So if we work as a team and be kind and helpful to one another, everyone will be okay, okay? Great. So I want to now go through the things that are outstanding, and my expectation is that I get those through this week so everybody is on the same page. I am going to be calling out specific people. If you've not done the work, again, it's not me being mean. You decided not to do the work, and now you're in this situation, okay? Okay. So here you are very familiar with my tracker, and you can see that there still is a lot of red, which I'm very unimpressed about, to be honest. Yeah, and I've given you ample time and messaged so many of you, and I haven't really got a response. So Solomon, we only have listening 6 outstanding. I need to get that from you as soon as possible. Bad, really, really serious issue here, okay? We've got 99% of it's red. The biggest problem that I have with UBAD is that I don't have a data sheet and I don't have your research helper. If I don't have those things, you cannot do the assessment. If you do not do the assessment, you fail this class. And if you fail any class in GAC, you actually failed all of GAC, all right? It means that you can only get a high school certificate, you cannot get a GAC certificate, nor can you get a GPA based on that. So you have a lot of work to do. Barry, I'm just missing listening 6. And this week's Alice in Wonderland. So if you can please get that to me as soon as possible. Lucy, fantastic work. Thank you very much. You were completely up to date, so you can relax and enjoy yourself. I think Amy, I'm still missing the Hawaiian podcast. And just this week's Alice, or last week's Alice in Wonderland. So Hawaiian podcast and Alice in Wonderland. Han, you've been doing a really good job, but we've got a few things missing still. So we've got the Hawaiian podcast, listening 6, Alice in Wonderland chapter 4 and chapter 5. Becky, I don't know what's happened here, Becky. You're usually a very good student. So you're missing 115 to 117, The Killer Asteroid, Alice in Wonderland, listening 2, the Race podcast, Research Helper, Hawaiian podcast, listening 5, data sheet, listening 6, and all of the Alice in Wonderlands, okay? I need that immediately. Cindy, again, I don't understand what has happened. Why has this work not come into me? You've got a lot that you need to get done, as I said, as soon as possible. Most important at this point is the research helper and the data sheet. I cannot move the rest of the class on until I have that information from all of the people that are missing the research helper and the data sheet. Mike, absolutely everything you need to complete and you need to get to me immediately. Jerry, you've been doing really well. I just need listening 6 and Alice in Wonderland number 5. Cherry, not too bad, but we're still falling a bit behind on the podcast. So get the Raise podcast, the Hawaiian podcast to me as soon as possible. Listening 6 and the 2 Alice in Wonderlands. Frank, I'm recording this on Saturday and I thoroughly believe that I'm sure that you would have gotten this in time. So the Alice in Wonderland is the only thing that's outstanding. Jasmine, phenomenal job. Jasmine, you've been fabulous this whole time. Well done. Maggie, I think you do not like listening. So please get me those podcasts through as soon as possible. Just because you are back in the classroom and we did this when you were away does not mean that you get to not do what everybody else has done. Okay, so I need those podcasts in immediately. And for you, so you've got done the research help in the data sheet, which is good, but we still have quite a few things outstanding. I know that listening is difficult, but the more that you practice, the better you'll become. Kraus, I've had a conversation with you via WeChat. Very, very unimpressed. I think you've basically just decided not to do the work, but the work has not gone away. You need to get that done and get it sent to me immediately. Tracy, again, absolutely phenomenal job. Well done. Lots of speaking to your teacher a lot, completing things, fixing things up and sending them. Well done. Sam, you've been trying really hard, so I'm very happy with you, but we still have a few things. So you've got 5 things that are outstanding there. Blaine, thank you so much for all of your hard work, Blaine. You've worked really, really, really well and very impressed. Evelyn, also been doing well, but we still have 3 things outstanding, the most important of which is the data sheet. Dixon, thanks Dixon, you've been really communicative. That means that you've spoken to me a lot, and we just have listening 6 and Alice in Wonderland chapter 5. Gail, you disappeared for a while, but you're back, which I'm very happy about. But the data sheet is really important. I need you to get that to me, and I know that you're working on the research helper now. And Tony, same situation. You've been really good in communicating with me today. Again, it's Saturday, so I just need to get that data sheet urgently, 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 and then the other items I'd like to have by the end of the week. Okay. All right, so that's how we're tracking. As I said, I need this information as quickly as possible. I was going to move on to the next part for your description. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I have these data sheets that are outstanding and I have these research helpers are outstanding. So until the entire class gets up to the same page, I can't actually move on. So instead, what I'm going to do today is give you a little bit of feedback on the data sheets that I've received. Many of you are going to have to fix those up because they're not great at the moment. Most of yours are not very good. The person I have selected one which is probably the best one out of the class, and we're going to use that one as an example. If you've not done yours in a similar fashion, then you really need to fix that up. We'll also quickly look at the research helper because that's going to help with your presentation. With the research helper, again, I would go back, have a look and see if you can fix it up. Again, you will be getting marks for all of these items, and I really want to be able to give you a 5 out of 5 because it will just boost your final mark for the semester. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is actually what it really should be looking like. So your fact sheet or the data sheet that we're working on. You can see that here they're not full sentences. So largest of all land animals, large ears, long trunk and large tusks, okay? So there's no full sentences. There's nothing that is copied or pasted here. Then down here, you can see that we've got our sources. Most of you have been very good with that, so that's really good, okay? But you can see the way that they've actually written it. So they've written what it's called, where they got it from, and the website, okay? And as I said, you really need to be saying when you've actually accessed it. So you can see here they've said both accessed and the date that they've accessed it, okay? So that's what your data sheet should be looking like. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Sam, I know that you're fixing this up, but I'm just going to give you an example. Many of you have done exactly the same thing. So you can see here, they're full sentences. What's going to happen in the assessment is that you can only bring your data sheet in, you can only bring this in, and then you need to write a description using this information from the data sheet, okay? Which means if you bring this in, you could just copy and copy, and that would be your description assessment. However, that doesn't show me that you are able to make sentences using a smaller amount of information, okay? So the one that I suggest that you do is something like this. So this is probably the best one. Oh, I don't know what that means. Oh. Okay, so this is a really good example of what I'd be looking for. Probably a little bit too wordy down here, but it's still really well done. So thank you, Cherry, for this. So animal name, scientific name, and so Cherry could bring this in and she'll be able to write her description nice and easily with this great amount of information, okay? And again, she's put it into short note-taking form. There's no long sentences and it hasn't been copied and pasted. So well done, Cherry. This is a really good job. Everybody else, this is what my expectation is. Oops. Okay, and so the final thing that I wanted to show you today is the research helper and what my expectation would be for the research helper. So Charles, thank you very much for this. You're quite thorough and you've used really good dot points. So you can see here at the top, I've actually given you an example of what I'm looking for. And you'll notice here, none of these are really full sentences. They're just dot points with the main information. That means that I've been able to identify what the main idea is. Sorry, I'll do that again. Okay, sorry. So as I said, so thank you very much, Charles. I really appreciate this work. So as I said, so up here you can see that I've just used short dot points and grabbed out the main information rather than copy and paste. So copy and paste, again, it's plagiarism. We know that we don't do that. Copying and pasting shows me nothing except your computer skills. If you just copy and paste, it doesn't mean that you can do English or that your English has improved. So again, everything that we're doing in these classes is not just to get the work done, it's actually to develop your English skills. So Charles has actually done the African wild dog. He's grabbed all of the questions that he had in the original document. He's actually put down the date that he's actually viewed this, although I can't imagine it was 2012. Charles, you've gone back in time. But you can see here these wonderful little dot points where he's just grabbed the main information to answer the questions. Again, really great questions, and then grab the main information. This is probably a little bit too wordy, but to be honest, these are really good. The websites are quite good as well. He's clearly used a variety of different websites, which is very impressive and very important. So if you want to be getting 5 out of 5, this is what the kind of thing that I'd actually be looking for. So things that I want you to do for the rest of today's class is, number 1, I want you to fix your data sheet, get that to me. Fix your research helper, get that to me. And those of you that have all of that other outstanding work, you need to be sending that through as well, okay? So data sheet and research helper, the most important things. The rest of it is trying to get all of the rest of the homework sent to me. Those of you that have already completed your data sheet, just have a look based on the feedback that I've given today. Is there anything that you can improve? Take a look at your research helper. Is there anything that you can improve? From today, I will give you the opportunity to resubmit and try and get that 5 out of 5 for these particular areas. And just to remind you, this information is not just for the data sheet. We will actually be doing a PowerPoint presentation and a speech on your endangered animal in the listening and speaking class. And this information is going to help you with that. Okay, so that's all from me today. Again, welcome back. My sincere apologies that I'm not in China. Trust me, I wish I was, but I promise you that when I come back, I will be making lemon cake and chocolate cake, and we can have a bit of a party for the return of finally everybody in the classroom. So please get that work done. Again, be kind to each other. Let's work through this together. Work really hard, and it's going to end up giving you a reward in the end. Okay, thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow.